care assistants or
Yeah.
support workers, you don't necessarily need to get the language.
Even for nurses, if you maybe struggling with the language requirements and want to get to Sweden.
Completed your degree in nursing or in caregiving, come to Sweden, and that will help you. Hey guys, this is Joyce from JoyceinSweden. I'm a Kenyan by origin, lived in Greece, and now I'm in Sweden. I'm so glad to hop on Emmanuel's channel so we can discuss more about integration, migration, and movement across the globe. So thank you so much, Emmanuel, for inviting me to your channel.
Thanks, Joy, for honoring the invitation as well. So we're just going to do a quick discussion about Sweden. So Joy has been in Sweden for quite a while now, and we're just going to pick on her expertise. And for people who are interested in traveling to Sweden, from Africa, Asia, wherever, know the basics and what you need to know about the country in general, and the process, and what you need to be aware of so that it doesn't become tough for you when you're doing the process. So just going to ask a few questions. So first of all, Joy, we would just like to know about yourself in general and your whole journey to Sweden, and when you went to Sweden, how long it's been, and how the whole process or the whole journey has been so far.
So I didn't come straight away from Africa, so my trip to Sweden is a bit simpler. It just means relocating to a different European region. I was in Greece. I'm a Greek as well, so I'm a Kenyan and a Greek as well. I have two nationalities.
Okay.
So coming to Sweden was much easier, but I came to Sweden because of family. So I had to reunite with my man and to start a family. So that's how I ended up in Sweden. When it comes to the time that I came to Sweden, I've been in Sweden now for almost 2 years.
Okay.
Almost 2 years, yes.
Okay. No, that's good. I didn't know you were Greek. That's a good that I didn't know. That's nice.
Yes, I'm a Greek by naturalization.
Okay. No, that's fine. That is nice to know. That is nice to know. So, Sweden in general. So, how do you think Sweden is in terms of the standard of living? Especially for immigrants, or the general standard of living in Sweden?
Actually, Sweden offers one of the highest standards of living, and that is due to some things that Sweden offers. So if you're an immigrant and you want to come to Sweden, put in your mind that it's quite expensive.
Okay.
And it's for a specific reason. We're talking about universal health cares. We're talking about free education for EU students, and also less fee for non-EU students. And we have general parental leave, which means if you're a parent in Sweden, you enjoy more compared to other countries. Okay. You have about 480 days that you share with your partner, and you get paid. We're talking about cleanliness and environment that applies to your general living standards. And we're talking about free, easy public transportation. So taxes in Sweden are quite high.
Yes.
So living standard is up
very
there.
High. Yeah, in order for them to provide all of that, they need to deduct a lot.
Absolutely.
It's understandable. If the money is put to work, it's understandable.
Yes.
No,
especially in cities like Stockholm or Gothenburg, which are the main city, it's even the living standard is even higher.
Okay. But then what would the salaries be like in Sweden? Would they, like, in gross and in terms of your net salary, like what you get at the end of the month? Is that something, do you get a considerable amount, even if you're on minimum wage or something like that, in order to survive the high cost of living?
Yes, you do. So the net monthly salary, it ranges between 27 to 31 or 32,000 Swedish crowns per month. And also it depends with the kind of work you're doing. So base it this way, that at the end of the month, the minimum amount of the minimum salary you will get home will be about 17,000. That's like 1,500 euros approximately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that should be enough to get by for rent and stuff like that.
It should be, depending on where you are. Again, depending on where you are. Absolutely. Because in Sweden, most people share apartments.
Okay.
So when it comes to apartment, because you can find a apartment might cost 10 to 15,000 one room.
Okay.
That is in Stockholm, let's say, for example. And if you're in Gothenburg, it might cost around 8 to 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And most cases, people do share so they can survive, they can get by.
Yeah, I believe it's a bit similar to the UK and most of the Western countries now, because
Yeah.
rent, especially like if you take London or Manchester or Liverpool, cities
Mm-hmm.
like that, for instance, rent is very high. So mostly it's advisable if you share or if you live with your family where both, partners do work and then can contribute to the rent and all of that.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So it's easier to share
Yeah.
bills. But the one thing you need to be aware of, if you're going to come to Sweden, for example, there are some things that are quite considerate. Like you might find that the utility bills are included in the rent.
Okay.
So like electricity or water, some apartments are included. So if you pay 10,000, for example, you're not paying extra.
Okay.
But one more thing I wanted to add to, which might be very, very useful to the ones who are doing care assistants or support workers.
Yes.
Just know that your role does not need regulation if you're working as a caregiver or you're working as a support assistant. So then you can, the only thing you will need to do is to make sure you find a company that can pay you at least 29,000 Swedish crown per month.
Okay.
To apply. Yes. And of course, your qualification of work for you to apply for the visa, and you can come. You don't necessarily need to get the language.
Okay. So, all right. So for those coming in as support workers,
yes,
you need to make sure you find a company that is willing to pay you up to about 29,000 Swedish krona per month.
Yeah.
And then you get your qualification. Let's say I'm a nurse and I want to come in as a care assistant. So set in my nursing, whatever. I don't need the language requirements in order to come in as a support worker.
You don't need that. So you will just, if you want to improve yourself, then you will be required to have the language. But the most important thing is to find a company that will hire you from abroad that will pay you 29,000 Swedish crowns per month. So the only difficult thing is that they already have people who are in Sweden who can occupy those positions.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's why it's difficult to get someone from abroad.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why the nursing now comes in. You level up yourself. But when you level up yourself, you need to level up yourself with not only education, but also the experience.
Yes.
Then you will be visible.
Yes. I think that is a good point there. So for anyone, even for nurses, if you maybe struggling with the language requirements and want to get to Sweden, you could try the care assistant route.
Yep.
Try and find a company and go to Indeed and apply for jobs. Search for companies that are willing to, employ you. I think there would be job sites available online if you search for them and then just apply. And if you get any company that's willing, that would be a very good start for you. So
Absolutely.
that is a good point.
The only other thing that I would add for young people, young ladies, for example, if you're a student and you're below 30, you
Yes.
could just for your start to dip yourself or put your feet in Europe or in Sweden and you're in Africa, check in au pair. Check on au pair and see if you can apply for an au pair, come over, experience for that period of 1-2 years once you've completed your degree in nursing or in caregiving, come to Sweden, and that will help you next time when you apply for a visa.
Okay. Yes.
Because the time that you will be here as an au pair, you can study the language.
Okay.
So when your time for au pair finishes, you get back home, then you can apply to work in Sweden. That way. Then you have a language, you have experience of work in Sweden, and you also, so you're good to go. That's the tip that I can give someone who's below 30.
So just that is au pair, yeah?
The au pair.
Okay.
Au pair, an au pair. Mm-hmm.
How do you get on to get that with the au pair? How do you apply?
There is their website. The au pair websites are available. Or if you go to Immigrant.se, which is a Swedish immigration website, they do have an option for you to apply for an au pair.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can do that. And you submit whatever they require. And if you're lucky, it might take a bit of time. And you get a family to stay with and take care of their kids. Yeah. As you learn the language for a period of 1 to 2 years. Yeah. It's something after your study, you can take it as a rest. You can take it as an experience. You can note it down as, because the au pairs do get paid a little.
Okay.
And you get a free language school.
No,
so, yeah.
I think that's also a good tip there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tip there. These are things that you will have to do very extensive research to know. So it's good that we got to know it now.
Yes.
So anyone who is willing, there's about 4 routes that's been mentioned today by Joy. So look into it. Do in-depth research about it. Go and look at the requirements, what you need to do, and what documents you need in order to get into these routes yourself. So no, that is good. Yes, that makes a bit of sense as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the working hours. In UK here, we do work like 12-hour shifts, and some places might do maybe 6 hours, especially for the healthcare. Will it be the same in Sweden? Like, would it be long shifts and all of that?
Well, Sweden has been trying to have this work-life balance for quite a while, but lately it's been stressful. The normal working hours is 40 hours per week.
Okay.
But they do have different options that you can take in terms of part-time or full-time. It depends on your availability. So you can work 25, 50, or 100% of time. But it's been on a high stress level when it comes to health workers, for example, or when it comes to those who are working in industry, like constructions, they work too many hours.
Right.
But maximum you can go is up to 48 hours per week. Of course, you're getting paid for overtime in some cases. Some cases you get days off.
Okay. Yeah, that is UK. It would be similar. I think the National Health Service would do about 37.5 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
But some of us work more than that because we need a lot more money than that. So
a lot more. Well, yeah. in health industry, for example, they do hire more people instead of stressing people to work more hours. Okay. They try that.
Okay.
So the less hours, like part-time workers, to cover the shifts.
Yeah. No, and then when you do decide to do the overtime, you get a little bit extra,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is which makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay, so how is the reception like for immigrants? How are immigrants received? Is the native Swedish people friendly or a bit, um, towards immigrants? What do you think from your perspective?
Okay, so this is what I will say. Having lived in Greece as well, I'll say everywhere there are half and half. There are people who will welcome you, and there are people who will not want you to be there. When we're talking about the government and the rules today, we're talking about a stressful moment for immigrants. But if you're
Okay.
talking about the community and people living in Sweden, you cannot judge unless you meet the person who doesn't want you.
Yes.
But it's been very, very stressful for immigrants this time due to the government trying to eliminate immigration. So we have a higher rate of people leaving instead of people arriving in Sweden, actually.
Right. Right.
So they've set some high standards for immigrants that you have to be integrated, you have to know the language. These are being stressful. They've created a bit of difficulties in finding a resident permit. And also the immigrants do not have, I think they're trying to limit the service that they give immigrants. For example, housing, you cannot live with your family alone. You have to live in the quarters where they
Right.
can regulate if you're an asylum seeker, that is, if you're an asylum seeker.
Okay.
So if you come to Sweden without a job and you just want to start and you fall into the asylum system, you have to understand that it's going to be tough
Okay.
as a person coming. So it's tougher. They also have this, they've initiated this thing that a snitch system. So if you're a public worker within Sweden and you have legal stay in Sweden, you can snitch on an undocumented immigrant.
Okay.
Yes. So you just snitch and they will be taken care of.
All right.
Yes. So that's something that if somebody's coming to Sweden, thinking coming to Sweden illegally,
Yes.
then you have to be aware of these things. They do happen. They don't happen in public, but they do
Okay.
exist. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It goes on. It goes
Yeah.
on under the carpet. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's channel the this towards more of the migration, especially for nurses and midwives or care
Mhm.
assistants who want to come and work, in the healthcare industry.
Mhm.
How is the overall process like? What are the basic requirements that they do need to meet in order to get this entry or get visa to come to Sweden?
So generally, I would say if you're not in Sweden, the first thing you need to think about is finding a job. Let's start from there. Can you find a job? Can a company hire you with your qualification? You look at yourself. If yes, then there are steps to take. A non-EU member, which means I'm going to be specific with Africans
Okay.
that are
Yes.
going to come to Sweden. Make sure you have to validate your credentials. So your credential has to be recognized by the Swedish education system.
Okay.
That is the first thing. You have to submit your degree, your transcripts, your professional status for evaluation. That's the first step you need to take. The second step, really, you need to take. And then you must have a proof of language. If you're going to work into the health industry as a nurse, you have to make sure that you have a language proof. C1 level, you have to.
C1 level.
C1 level, or you know Danish, or you know Norwegian. One of those will help you get through. But you have to have a proof that you have qualification for the language.
Okay.
And the next thing you have to make sure for you to be able to be taken or be able to work in the Swedish health sector, you must take a Swedish aptitude test.
Okay.
Yes, you have to take. Otherwise, you have another option where you have to go to a Swedish university for 1.5 years. Otherwise, if you don't want to go that line, you just need to take the test. And from the test, you can go ahead and get your work permit.
Okay.
So it's are you able to work or is your qualification good enough to be hired by a company? Then get your credential, which means your transcript, your results, your language qualification monitored or validated by Swedish education system. And then you have to make sure that you have a work permit, which means the company has to send you that.
Yeah.
You have a visa or resident permit after that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And how long do you think? Let's say if I'm validating I want to submit my documentation for validation today. Like generally, how long would it take for it to get validated? What would be the timeline?
Usually, it's about 2 to 4 months.
Okay, to get
2
it.
to 4 months, yeah, and you do it online. 2 to 4 months, it will be all checked up for you.
Okay.
Yes.
And then if you do qualify, then you probably will have to get the language test. So let's talk more about the language requirements. My first question about the language requirements is the language difficult, like very difficult to learn as an African?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, if you're not, it's difficult if you're not open to be a linguistic or multilingual person. And no, if you're open to learning new things. Swedish is very confusing. Okay. It's neither close to English, neither close to German, sorry. So it's in between.
Okay.
Yeah. I would not say that it's difficult. I will only say that it's confusing and complicated.
Okay. So let's say I am willing to learn the Swedish language.
Yes.
I know it will depend on, how quick the person is to learn and all that to determine the timeline. But in general, if you take someone who is fast and eager to learn the language, how long do you think it should, a timeline, like maybe a range for the person to reach the C1 level in order to get the exams done and maybe possibly pass? What would you think in just your general perspective?
In my general perspective, it's usually 6 months to a year.
Okay.
6 months to a year. Then from 6 months, you start to grab things. You can create, create constructive sentences.
Yeah.
You can have a little bit of a vocabulary, storage somewhere. Yeah. So yes, 6 to 12 months, I'll say.
Well, guys,
a dedicated person.
Yeah. Well, if you're dedicated, you need to start now if you're interested in going to Sweden because it could. Well, it's understandable because learning a language from scratch is not an easy thing to do.
Nope. Not at all.
Thing to do.
Not at all.
When I came to the UK at first, I decided I would learn Chinese and.
Oh, how did that go?
So
and why Chinese?
I couldn't do it for a month. I had to stop because it was so confusing and I didn't really need it at the time, so I just let go of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think if you really, want to do it, like if it's something, for instance, if you want to travel, it's something that you really need to do, and then you start a bit early.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
So what do you think with the language exams? Would there be centers around the world, or will it have to be done in Sweden?
You can take a test online in some university or some schools. They offer online tests that you can do. There are quite a number of places where you could study Swedish. But if you're in Sweden, then you have a quite a free education, Swedish education you can get, as long as you have a Swedish social number.
Okay.
Then
So
it's free.
if someone decides to come to school in Sweden, let's say
Yeah,
for a master's program, will they have the chance to learn the language before
absolutely.
they?
Absolutely. Yes, they will. They will go to attend Swedish for immigrants, and they can get certification from there. Yes.
Well, that's a good route actually to
Yeah.
take, because
Hmm.
if you have a BSc, let's say you want to go to Sweden to work as a nurse, and maybe you decide to maybe do your masters first, get the language whilst you're doing your before you do your masters, and then after that you can venture into nursing or whatever. Join the.
Absolutely, that's the best thing to do. No matter where you're going, even if it's not Sweden, if someone is going to a country that they don't speak English at all, then you need to start learning their language and learning their culture. So when you come, you don't find it difficult to integrate.
Yeah.
That is what I'll say. Don't be so rigid on I don't want change. The fact that you want to relocate, that is a change to begin with. So anything after that you must be flexible.
No, I think that is very important, because well, UK would be the only place I've traveled to, but
Yeah,
because the UK and Ghana, we would be an English speaking country, and then because they had a lot of influence on our culture, and also we might know, but yet still, when you come in, even the area that you are, there are still a few things that you need to try to assimilate into, kind
absolutely.
that they would do or would not do, and even the way they will speak some words that they will use in a normal conversation, it makes
Mhm.
people much free to speak with you when they hear you say some words or do certain things that are very common and they are used to. So yeah, I think that is also a very big issue now for a lot of African migrants. They travel and they still want to behave like they're in their own country, which I don't think it's a good idea, because if you want to be in your country, then you stay there. Once you've moved out of it, you need to do what the Romans are doing. There is a
Absolutely.
saying that.
Yes. I agree with you. I agree with you because the moment you go to someone's house, at least try to learn how they live. Don't make them change, yet you don't accept their change, their way of living. So you have to implement what others are doing if you go to their country. And the first thing to be able to communicate is to know the language. Even if we didn't have, let's say we didn't have English and you were going to the UK, you will be forced to learn English.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the fact that we speak English, because 80% of Swedish people do speak English
Okay,
willingly. So
okay.
willingly, which means that if they see that you cannot speak Swedish, they switch to English.
English for you,
But
yes.
when it comes to work area or work environment, they demand Swedish.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I think that is understandable and it makes sense for that. So my last question, or the last thing that I would want us to discuss, it's a
Mhm.
very simple,
Mhm.
just your general opinion or
Mhm.
any general advice for anyone from Africa, because my channel focuses mostly for Africans that is willing to come to Sweden to work or school or whatever. What would be your advice or your opinion for such people?
The first thing I would say is whatever your heart suggests or your intuition tells you, do it. I might have had a difficult time. You might not.
Yeah.
So don't rely on my difficult time to think that, oh, Sweden is bad.
Yeah.
No, it's your attitude. It's actually someone's attitude wherever they go. So anything you want to do that you think is going to make a change to your life in the future, whoever is watching, go ahead and do it. Secondly, if you're thinking about coming to Sweden, you need to consider things. Sweden is not cheap.
Okay.
It is expensive. Sweden has rules. You have to follow the rules. One thing we Africans, we are used to living free.
Yes.
Even the government doesn't believe in constitution, doesn't believe in rules. So when we get to a place where rules are very tight, we find we cannot breathe.
Yes. Yes.
And then we forget that, hold on a second, even underwater, I can just control myself and breathe. And then I get used to it. So the same thing when they come to Sweden, they will find it tough, especially when it comes finding jobs, integration, social life. That's why people end up being in the same community, or they end up getting depressed because it's not so easy to socialize with people in Sweden. People are very closed.
Yeah.
And that's something somebody needs to put into consideration. It's not going to be you find people outside and you talk to anybody. It's not going to happen. Don't think about that. It's not going to happen. So you have to control that. And you have to prepare yourself by learning what those people are doing. Wherever you're going, it might not be Sweden. Learn about the country. Learn about their culture. See what you can actually practice before you arrive to the country. Make it a habit. So when you arrive, it's you sink in. You synchronize simultaneously. So it's much easier for you. The language is a number one thing. Find Duolingo. YouTube has a lot of learning platforms. Sign yourself into courses. Learn Swedish. Take a test. See if you're good enough. Then when you arrive in Sweden, you have to pay, I think, about... for you to do the language test, you can pay about 150 euros to do the test, so you can show that you've already done it. Things like this needs to be considered. You need to prepare yourself psychologically. No, especially if you don't have family, you don't have friends.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared psychologically for anything and anything.
Yes.
Because not only relocation is stressful, but settling in a new place is stressful.
Very difficult. Yes.
So that's what I will tell whoever is planning to come to Sweden, not only Sweden, any other place, but especially now that the winter is near. Yeah. If you're going to come to Sweden, equip yourself with self-control.
I know. Well, if you're not coming with your family, then yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Yes. A lot of people get into depression because of the darkness.
Yeah.
In Sweden, yes.
Yeah, and there's long winter as well. I heard in Sweden and that part of the world, there's...
Yes. And it can get very cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get used to it. I think the UK doesn't get too cold, but when the weather gets a bit it's
yes,
not easy, so I can only imagine in Sweden.
It's a funny thing that I thought Sweden had the same, because I haven't been to Germany. I thought Sweden had the same climate as Germany. And I met someone who was living in Germany and said, no, you cannot compare Sweden with Germany.
Right.
Sweden is way too cold.
Thanks a lot, Joy. I know it's busy, you're busy and you will have other things, so we will end it here. Thanks a lot for honoring the invitation and all the tips and all the explanations. I've done a lot of research about Sweden, but
yeah,
I'll say 80% of the things you said, I probably never noticed it. So, it's always good to have someone who is there.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's always good to discuss things. And before UK was really good. I don't know what happened.
Now it's very, very, the care assistant and the support worker route, it's been cancelled totally for international people. So totally
Okay. Okay.
The only route would be student route, which is very tough now. And even the nurses and others, it's very tough now. So UK immigration is almost
Think,
gone.
it's everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's just Europe in general, just
Mhm.
trying to clamp down immigration and stuff. So, if you
Yes.
now trying to get into Europe, you need to do a lot more work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hassle now than before. So, if you're serious, then you have to get it done. And
Absolutely, absolutely. So it was nice, and I forgot to tell people that I have my YouTube channel as well, so they
yes,
can check on it.
I'll
Um,
leave a link to your YouTube channel in the description. So please go. She has amazing content about Sweden and a lot. I was watching some of your videos yesterday.
yes,
Has very, very good content. Please go in and subscribe to Joy in Sweden.
thank you,
Joy in Sweden. That's there. I will leave the description. The what we call the link in the description. So please go and subscribe and watch her videos. You will have more insight, and you have questions about Sweden. You can send a comment or send her a DM in Instagram or whatever, and she will respond to you. So please do that. Thanks a lot once again. Thanks a lot for honoring the invitation. So yeah.
thank you, and you have a great day in the UK. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.